In this video, we are going to be learning about ratios. So what is a ratio? A ratio is the quantitative relation or comparison between two amounts showing the number of times one value contains or is contained within the other. A ratio can be written using a colon, like as seen here, 3 colon 5, or as a fraction, 3 over 5. I'll be writing my ratios as fractions. So while we're working through some ratios, there is going to be some important information that you need to know for comparison purposes. So I would encourage you to write these equivalencies down. So let's look at example 1. Write the following comparison as a ratio reduced to lowest terms. 62 nickels to 10 dimes. Right now we can't actually write them as a ratio to compare because they don't have the same unit. And so step 1, we need to know the conversion, and so that way we can get them in the same unit and have the units cancel. So we're going to set up the given ratio as a fraction. We have 62 nickels over 10 dimes. And then we want the units to cancel so that we end up with a comparison at the end. So we're going to use the conversion to cancel the units. And so I'm going to set my equation like this. I'm going to have 62 nickels over 10 dimes, like I just shown in step 2, and then I'm going to multiply that by my comparison. And since I want my units to cancel, I'm going to put my 1 dime on top and my 2 nickels on the bottom. My units are going to cancel here, and then when you multiply fractions, you just multiply straight across. You multiply the tops, and then you multiply the bottom. So 62 times 1 on the top and 10 times 2 on the bottom. And so that's going to equal 62 over 20. And then when you simplify that on that fraction, you get 31 over 10. And so that's going to be my final answer. So let's look at a similar example using 215 inches to 8 feet. We can't actually compare them right now because they don't have the same unit. And so we're going to have to get this to where we get the units to cancel. And so the first step is we need to know the conversion that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So then step 2, I'm going to set up the given ratio as a fraction. So 215 inches is going to go on top, 8 feet are going to go on the bottom. And then step 3, we want the units to cancel so that we end up with a comparison at the end. So we're going to use our conversion to cancel units. And so this is how I'm going to set it up. 215 inches over 8 feet, and then since I want my feet and my inches to cancel, I'm going to put my 1 foot on top of my second fraction, and I'm going to put my 12 inches on the bottom of my second fraction. And then when you do that, your units will cancel. You're left with a fraction that you're just 2 fractions that you're going to be multiplying. So you do 215 times 1 on the top, and then 8 times 12 on the bottom. And you're going to be left with 215 over 96. And that's actually going to be our final answer. It doesn't simplify here. So let's look at example 3, which is our final example. We're going to write the following comparison as a ratio reduced to the lowest terms for 9 hours to 5 days. So once again, we can't actually write the ratio right now because they don't have the same unit. And so step 1, we need to know the conversion between hours and days. So there's 24 hours is equal to 1 day. And then step 2, I'm going to set up the given ratio as a fraction. So that's going to be 9 hours over 5 days. And then now I'm ready to set up my equation to get my units to cancel out so that I will end up with a comparison, and we're going to use that conversion to cancel out the units. So this is what my equation is going to look like. I'm going to have that 9 hours over 5 days, and then I'm going to multiply it by 1 day over 24 hours. I put my day on top and my hours on bottom because I want my units to cancel. And so then now I have 2 fractions that I'm going to be multiplying. So I do 9 times 1 on top and then 5 times 24 on the bottom. And I'm left with 9 over 120. And then when I simplify that down, I'm going to get 3 over 40 as my final answer.